Hi, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay, and I am a terminally online historian who reads way too much news, and I have way too many opinions about it. So, what I like to do is once a week or so go through, review what I think the top 3 or 4 stories of the week are, and let you know what I think about them. I will say that I did not do this last week as I was helping out with a local community program for the LGBTQ plus community that I'm involved with, and so I was not just didn't have time to get to this. However, the stories I all 3 of the stories I was going to talk about are still relevant this week, even though one of them you haven't heard much of since I collected these notes, but still need to be discussed as it is very important. And so this is my analysis of the news for the 2 week period that ended on October 26, 2025. And so, first of all, quick note: federal government shutdown still going down. It's People are still not getting paid that should need to get paid. Republicans look like they might be caving soon, and that's actually a good thing because that means people can get paid, we get government reopen. One of the things that's floating around as a rumor is some of the Republicans who want to end the shutdown are talking not about just a short-term continuing resolution, but a continuing resolution to get them through to December of 2026, basically through the midterm, so that way they don't have. They're basically trying to think that hey, it's if we get this ended now and push this back to December 2026, then we don't have it hanging over our heads for the midterms. But uh, there's folks who have long memories, and it's affected so many people for so long that I don't expect that to happen. Added to that, all the outrage over the Congress and the GOP and MAGA not releasing the Epstein files. Uh, Moving on, and again, a disturbing trend of vindictive prosecution. The latest victim is John Bolton, former ambassador to the UN under W. Bush, and also a national security advisor for Trump during his first term. It's actually related to Bolton's first term, Bolton being Trump's national security advisor during the first term, that he's been indicted on 8 counts of transmission of national defense information and 10 counts of unlawful retention of national defense information. And this comes up because Bolton wrote a book about his time as Trump's NSA. In It was all based on personal notes and diaries. Yeah, personal notes and diaries are not covered under the Espionage Act nor the Presidential Records Act. They're actually exempt from that as they are considered private property. And that book came out back in 2020, and the Department of Justice, CIA, National Security Administration, all those folks had cleared the book back then. So none of what Bolton did with his book and relating that information, closed door information, was illegal. In fact, is very much cleared by the government, and was good to go. Like I said, this is another vindictive prosecution. Trump going after his enemies, and um, yeah, I'm expecting this one to get uh, kicked out and dismissed with prejudice somewhere during the motion practice. And I will also comment on these every single time this happens, as this is not America. America does not have folks go after their enemies for stupid reasons. Instead, the Justice Department should be completely independent and just report on matters of civil rights and civil lawsuits affecting the government, and anything criminal. Yeah, they keep that confidential until they need to announce the folks have been arrested and indicted. Not even the president needs to interfere with the criminal aspects and antitrust aspects of the Justice Department. That just does not need to be disclosed to anyone nor interfere. And speaking of Trump, and the big thing I wanted to discuss this week is, as everyone is aware, the White House's East Wing was demolished this week in order to make room for Trump's White House ballroom. Um, It's, as you can tell, it's big, it's huge. Like, it's 90,000 square feet is what the purported size of it. It holds 900 folks. And just for comparison, the rest of the White House complex, as in the executive mansion in the Western Wing, that's only 55,000 square feet. So this is going to basically triple the size of the White House, and it's just not good looking. If you look at the interior images, there's speculation that this photo right here is AI slop, but it's just gaudy. It's too much gold, and honestly, it kind of looks out of place and when compared to the White House. I mean, if you look at this photo of the exterior, it's the architecture does not work. It's the wrong era. But and yeah, it's just bad. Like the East Room's fine for larger events, and that's what it was designed for. Yes, the state dining room is small, but really, it's fine. Obama never had problems with it. Biden never had problems with it. Um, Trump seems to be the only president in recent history that has had an issue with when he wants to hold larger state dinners that he has to use tents out on the South Lawn. But so what? Uh, it's we don't need a ballroom that big. And besides, most of the time that's because he's sitting there standing empty. It's just excess maintenance and HVAC and everything else that's involved that the taxpayer will have to eventually pay for, even though this construction is privately funded by billionaires. And additionally, in the past couple of weeks, there's actually a very good proposal to put up an arc in the mall, an arc commemorating the American people and the American spirit. And of course, Trump naturally bogarted and said it was a Trump to honor him. And he is uh, wants the biggest version possible, and he wants to put it opposite the Lincoln Memorial across the Potomac, right in front of the main entrance to Arlington National Cemetery, which I do find to be an affront to all the service members he has been screwing over, especially with this recent shutdown. And also, I consider it him giving the folks who served in Vietnam that did not make it back and are buried at Arlington, or the ones who did make it back and but were not given a proper welcome when they returned from Vietnam and since passing are buried with their colleagues and platoon and platoon squadron and shipmates at Arlington. It's Trump who'd never served and actually got multiple deferments from being drafted. That's basically Trump just giving those folks the middle finger. Um, if they still want to do an arch commemorating American folks, people, I'm fine with it. It probably shouldn't be in front of Arlington. Probably somewhere out just off the mall. But yeah, yeah, that's horrible. Another thing, the Rose Garden is now a patio. No roses anywhere. Definitely the design key for this were all the patios down at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, where Trump spends all his winter weekends. And basically, Trump hates flowers. I mean, that's long and short of it, and it just looks horrible. I hope whoever the next Democratic president is restores the Rose Garden back to the way Jackie Kennedy had it, as that was really, really good use of space and good garden space there, and just beautiful multicolor roses, lots of green. So there's that. Also, alongside the Rose Garden is the West Colonnade, and Trump has turned that into a wall of presidents. And so he's got gold frame pictures of every single U.S. president lining the wall of that colonnade. Well, I should say every president except Biden. Biden's portrait is of Otto, and which is pretty much Trump being petty and snubbing Biden in that manner. Next, I really hate what he did to the Oval Office. Um, it's gold everywhere, and in way, way, way too many portraits. It's almost as if Trump took his design cues from places like Versailles and Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle and all those old monarchical palaces where they would just have painting in gold covering every single wall, floor to ceiling. And it just does not look good in my opinion. I much rather with those portraits be like some sort of uh, either whatever the artist intended as the frame, because some artists do have specific ideas and concepts of how they want them framed, or just stained wood. Just looks so much better. And also, there's rumors that Trump wants to put marble, not just in where it currently is in the cross hall of the executive mansion, the main mansion, but everywhere, just marble everywhere. He has this in his Trump Tower estate. He has that especially down at Mar-a-Lago. And again, it's just a very imperial flex and does not reflect what the whole point of the White House being the people's house. And so one would wonder, why is Trump doing this? And it's actually quite simple. Um, Trump is obsessed with how people and things look. That's why he makes the comments he does about people's appearances, especially attractive women. Is why he decorates things the way he does, as he does believe that is beautiful, and he's just obsessed with that. Um, this also shows his dictatorial tendencies as just crazy renovations and construction of large structures as Hitler and Stalin did. Mao did it a little, but Hitler and Stalin, especially Hitler, were most famous for it. I About a decade and a half ago, I read a really good uh, article about Albert Speer, Hitler's personal architect, who eventually became jack of all trades toward the end of the Nazi regime. Um, and basically, Speer was his notes were like, yeah, half the time Hitler was just talking about architecture, decoration. That seems what not Hitler, but Trump is doing at this time. And at this point, with the West Wing being demolished, there just needs to be a big, massive lawsuit just suing to prevent Trump from making any more changes in the White House, and hopefully forcing Trump to rebuild the West Wing as it originally was out of private donations, and not private donations, excuse me, but out of Trump's own money. It should not be paid. Any restoration of the East Wing should not be paid for by the taxpayer, but by Donald Trump and his family. So, with that being said, that is all I have for this past 2 weeks. I should be back next week to talk about more stuff. Hopefully, we can get a government open up by then. And as always, if you like this, please share it with some. Uh, please like it. Please share it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you're going to comment, please be kind to everyone, as you know, life can be hard and things are a bit crazy right now. So the best thing we can do is treat each other with kindness, and that includes online in the comments. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye bye.